During our May 2025 Holland America Eurodam cruise, we had stops in Victoria, British Columbia, in Canada, and Seattle. Victoria was up first. We arrived in Victoria around 8 p.m. and sail away time was around 11 p.m. Why would a cruise ship stop for such a short time? Because they don't have a choice. Due to the Passenger Vessel Services Act, foreign flagged vessels can't run exclusively U.S. itineraries. They would have to stop in at least one foreign port. So you will often see an almost perfunctory stop in Victoria on Alaska cruises for that reason.
We decided to walk downtown from the port, which turned out to be a bad idea given the amount of time we had. It's a fairly nice walk, but it can take 30 to 40 minutes. There are a lot of transportation options right by the ship. If you can hire a cab or a pedicab for a reasonable fare, do it. We also stopped by Fisherman's Wharf, which has little shops and restaurants and a dock thoroughfare lined with quirky, privately owned houseboats. Unfortunately, most of the shops and restaurants were closed because we arrived so late in the evening. There was also this guy just going around in circles in his tiny cab boat.
We made our way to Victoria's downtown shopping area, which had some beautiful architecture. There were also plenty of souvenirs, restaurants, places to have a meal or snack, and this cotton candy robot that was not very good at its job.
His was about this size, smaller than yours.
Is it good?
No.
We caught a pedicab ride back for the journey to the ship and passed the British Columbia Parliament buildings along the way. This complex has been operating since 1898. The pedicab ride was my favorite part of this stop. We got a quick view of the town, a chance to enjoy the cool evening air, and we got to skip the half-hour walk back to the ship. On arrival at the port, we spent some time shopping the port shops. Perhaps owing to the short time most ships spend in port, the port shopping options have an unusual number of local vendors offering a variety of wares, from survival gear to jewelry to handcrafted wooden boxes. After Victoria, we went to Seattle, the home port for this cruise, for disembarkation. The actual last day of the cruise was clear and beautiful, and we had an amazing view of Mount Rainier, which is a 14,000 foot tall active volcano. It turns out it's considered one of the most dangerous volcanoes in the world due to its proximity to populated areas.
We started out by doing a little shopping. After that, we visited the famous Pike's Place Market. Before getting into the heart of the market itself, we stopped at Cinnamon Works, a bakery that makes gluten-free treats. I have celiac, so gluten-free is important, and Seattle has many gluten-free options.
Pike's Place is mayhem. Throngs of people crowd through winding passageways, both open air and closed in, with vendors selling wares ranging from fresh flowers to honey or seafood. There were some pretty good dog watching opportunities as well. The crowd you see here was consistent throughout our visit and did not really let up. Here's an example of some of the fish tossing that became famous at this market. There were all sorts of unusual things on offer, from fresh octopus to raw goat milk. We enjoyed seeing all there was to see at the market, but ultimately we didn't buy anything. I don't think an octopus would work out well in my carry-on.
A short walk from the main thoroughfare of the market is Honest Biscuits, which sells some of the best gluten-free biscuits we've ever had. Some gluten-free food is as good or better than its gluten-containing counterpart, and Honest Biscuit is an example of that situation. The taste, flaky texture, and smell all reminded me of my grandma's biscuits. The biscuits were so good, I was briefly worried that there had been a mistake, but they turned out to be gluten-free. It was also nice to know the restaurant has an excellent food safety rating. It appears that Seattle restaurants are required to post these in view of the public, and they were helpful.
On the recommendation of a stranger, we got the Piggy Pimento. It was good, but the classic bacon, egg, and cheese biscuit was better. After all those biscuits, we needed a walk, and there was a beautiful little park area right nearby with wonderful views of the water.
For our next stop, we went to the foot of the Seattle Space Needle, where you will find the Museum of Pop Culture, among other attractions. We skipped the needle itself. Hint for visitors, it's easier to get into the Space Needle than it is to get out. During busy parts of the day, there are long lines for the elevator down, leaving crowds stuck at the top waiting in line.
The Museum of Pop Culture is something I recommend to anyone who enjoys movies and television, and to a lesser extent, music. It's surprising to me that this place is not more well known, because it's a lot of fun. Imagine a traditional museum with displays and exhibits, but the displays and exhibits pertain to popular media. Screen-used suits from Tron, Luke Skywalker's severed hand and lightsaber, that creepy tank full of heads from The Walking Dead, an original lion costume from the 1930s Wizard of Oz, Harry Potter's glasses, and the xenomorph from Alien were all on display. I had a hard time trying to decide what to include and what not to here. I couldn't edit out the hoverboards from Back to the Future Part 2, for example. That's just a short list of all the items on display. You can see a lot more in this pan. It's just the kind of thing that really needs to be experienced in person, and we highly recommend a visit to Seattle just for this attraction alone.
Well, that's it for Seattle. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. This is Places, Plates, and Points.